Hey there guys, today I'm doing the Netflix book tag. So I was tagged to do this by Becca from Becca's Bookshelves. I will make sure to link her below, as well as the original creator, whose name I do not know because I didn't do research because I am stupid. So, questions. Number one is recently watched, and that's the last book I finished. So on the day of filming, which is 31st of March, I pre-filmed this month, I finished Scythe today on my way home from work. Scythe takes place in a world where all illnesses have been cured, including death. The only way people can die is if they are professionally gleaned by scythes, who are the only people that can kill people permanently. This story follows two apprentice scythes called Citra and Rowan as they learn what it means to be a scythe. That's pretty much all I'm going to tell you, because I love this book. I finished it. I gave it 5 stars. I'm obsessed. And I can't wait to continue this series now. I'm 100% hooked, 100% obsessed with this. I've said it. This, I think, is now in my top series of all time. And I've only read book 1. So that is my opinion. And that means a lot. Question 2 is top picks, and that is a book that has been recommended to me based on books I have previously read. And for that one, I went with Wranglestone by Darren Charlton. This is a YA apocalypse novel. It's zombie apocalypse, which we all love. And this was recommended to me because of how much I loved Unchosen by Catherine Blair. That was also a dystopian zombie apocalypse type novel, but it also had like a sci-fi contagion element. So this story follows 2 teens as they are living on the islands of Lake Wranglestone. The islands are known as a safe haven because the zombie apocalypse can't reach them. But when winter hits and the lake freezes over, suddenly the zombies can reach them now. And that's what the story follows. I don't know anything else about it. I think it is LGBT, and that's pretty much all I know. And I'm obsessed with the idea of reading it. I just need to pick it up, and I'm going to. Very, very shortly. Now the next one is recently added, and that is a book I've recently bought. So for me, I went with Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is the Fairy Loot Special Edition. I just had to get this. I think it is stunning, and this book, oh, it's beautiful. I've got 3 copies of this book technically. I've got this one, I've got the Illumicrate edition, and I also have the US paperback, which is not actually coming until May. But I recently bought this. I am obsessed with it, and I think it is one of the most beautiful books I've read in a long time. Now the next one is popular on Netflix, and that is books that everyone on BookTube knows about. And you have to pick 4. 2 that you have read and 2 that you have not read. So for one that I've read, obviously I had to pick A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Everyone knows about A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. If you don't, where the hell have you been? But if you don't, this follows Pip Fitzamobi as she looks into the case of a murder that happened in her town a few years ago. Everyone knows who the murderer was. He then took his own life after committing the murder, but Pip is not too sure that he actually committed the murder and does a little digging. I also obviously had to go with Crescent City. I've read this. Everyone knows what Crescent City is. Everyone is obsessed with Crescent City. If you don't know what Crescent City is, so this story follows Bryce Quinlan, who is half fae, half human, and she endures a terrible tragedy. 2 years later, while she is recovering and still grieving from the tragedy, she is then tasked with discovering the truth behind what happened. It is actually revealed in the blurb what the tragedy was, but at the same time, it's also really surprising if you don't know what it is. So if you have been avoiding this like the plague and you have no idea what it is, but you are interested, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Go and check it out. Now the 2 that I haven't read. The first one is A Court of Mist and Fury. Everyone is obsessed with it, especially chapter 55. I don't know, I'm making that up. But I've not read that yet. Everyone's obsessed with it. Everyone keeps telling me I need to read it. I'm gonna, you know me. But the next one I've also not read is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I am obsessed with this, but I'm scared of picking it up because I'm scared that I'm not going to like it as much as I think I will. But it is on my TBR for this month, and I will be reading it. Probably towards the end of the month, so I can carry on, should cliffhangers occur. Question 5 is comedies, and that is a funny book. Obviously, it had to be Noah. Noah Can't Even and Noah Could Never, which is the sequel, is an hilarious LGBT romance, YA glob of perfection. It is so funny. Noah is a socially awkward teen, and he suddenly has to not only navigate questioning his sexuality, but he has to navigate the fact that the reason he's questioning his sexuality is because his best friend randomly kissed him. On top of that, his mother is also a Beyonce tribute act. And Noah's life is just a disaster. It is absolutely perfect. I can't wait to reread this. I need to. This is a great story. If you have not read this and you like YA, LGBT, romances, contemporaries, for the love of God, this needs to be on your radar. Now, the next one is dramas, and this isn't a specific book. This is a character who is a drama queen. Now, let me tell you, I didn't have to think for a second who I were picking. Alec frickin' Lightwood from The Mortal Instruments. Alec is the biggest drama queen in existence. I don't even like the fella. Like, I've read all of the Shadowhunters. I hate him. I hate him with a passion. Okay, minor spoilers for The Mortal Instruments, very minor. So if you haven't read it or you've read a bit of it, it's not that much of a spoiler. But if you've not read anything, you don't want to know anything at all, I'll put my hand down when I'm done. So minor spoilers. Alec is very, very controlling. He is one of those characters that's going through a lot. He has troubled relationships with his family, and he is going through a lot in terms of discovering who he is and his sexuality. So he is going through a lot, I admit that. However, Alec is so possessive and so controlling that he is just unlikable. Everyone... It's still up. I'm sorry, I moved my hand. Everyone loves him, and I cannot stand him because of how controlling and petty and childish he acts all the time. Can't stand him. Don't like him. I'm done. And the next one is animated, and that is a book with cartoons on the cover. So I went with Life of Riley Beginner's Luck. There it is, cartoon on the cover. I love this. This is by Simon James Green, who is the author of Noah Can't Even. And this follows a young lad called Riley who is cursed while at a carnival, and suddenly his life just goes downhill dramatically. It is so funny and such an easy read. This is a middle grade, so if you like middle grades, check this one out. Number 8 is Watch Again, and that is a book you want to reread. So, reread and also a reappearance in this video, Good Girls Guide to Murder. Desperate to reread this. I recently read the prequel of this book called Killjoy. It was just a tiny little novella, and since I read it, Since I read it, I'm now just obsessed with reading this series again, so I'm so excited. The third and final book in this series comes out some point this year. I can't even remember. It's already pre-ordered though. So when it arrives, I'm going to be rereading the entire series, and I'll be reading the third book, which is technically the fourth book, but it's book 3 in the series, technically. But I can't wait to reread. Number 9 is documentaries, and that is a non-fiction book that you would recommend. I'm going to be completely honest, I don't do non-fiction books, so I can't really advise there. It doesn't really apply to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Sorry. Question 10 is Action and Adventure, which is an action-packed book. For me, I had to pick Unchosen by Catherine Blair. I don't think this is action in the case of it's all gunfights, explosions and all that, but it's action-packed as in the entire time I was literally so tense reading this book. I was stressed because I didn't know where it was going. There was so much happening. I panicked all the time. It was a fantastic read. So 100% action-packed book. Love this. Number 11 is New Release. And that means new release, that I want to read. I'm choosing A Court of Silver Flames for this. It's not a book I'm dying to get to, but it is a release I really, really do want to read, and I'm continuing with my read of ACOTAR and ACOMAF this month, and probably ACOWAR afterwards, and then ACOFAS after that. So I'll get to a Court of Silver Flames eventually. And question 12 is Max, and that is tag people. I'm going to do an open tag. I think I've mentioned in many tag videos before. As much as I like doing these tags, I don't like tagging people because I don't want anyone to feel obligated. I don't want to tag people multiple times if they've been tagged already or they've already done the video. You know, I don't want to do that. So open tag, if you fancy doing this, make sure you do. I'm more than happy to claim you as one of my taggees. But I'm going to go now. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and a comment down below. What can I ask you to comment? Comment me, because this is the Netflix book tag, make sure you comment down below what the last show you watched on Netflix was. Or film. Last anything you watched on Netflix. Alright. I will chat to you guys soon, but until then, I will see you later. Bye.